light in our universe. She talks about people being made of stardust, and she is that. She is stardust. She is an American actress. She's a teacher at the university level. She's a singer, and she's an activist. Most of all, she's an inspiration. Alex was among the very first openly transgender women to have played a transgender character on television. And why that is important is visibility. I don't know about you, but I had very few role models growing up that made me even possibly thinking that I could be who I needed to be. I mean, Tom Hanks in Bosom Buddies was not really the best role model. I like to say when I give my talks that the things that we had as role models are the 3 C's. We had criminals, clowns, and crazies. Those were the only types of people that you saw that had any kind of gender differentiation. And it makes you feel like you're worthless if you know that's who you are and you can't share it. So visibility is huge, and what Alex is all about is visibility. Because in our culture and in our society, one of the things that brings people to light is the arts. Our civilization is actually remembered more by our arts. How many Roman soldiers do we know? But we know the art, the Greeks, the art. The Italian Renaissance, we know the artists. Those are the people that we remember. Those are the people we know, because these are lasting contributions. So as an artist, it is very important the things that they are able to bring to our society. In recent times, I mean, I could go through here and talk about, I mean, she's got a really long list of things that she's done, and they're all amazing. I mean, she started off in Chicago. I don't know if you know this, but she was in, she actually started in kind of the cabaret and kind of the drag club scene, you know, early on, but then got into acting and actually did a lot of legitimate and probably illegitimate theater, you know, along the way. What's the one about the zombies?
Cannibal Cheerleaders on Crack.
Yeah, Cannibal Cheerleaders on Crack. Why it didn't get a Tony that year is really, it's beyond me. But, yeah. So she's been on Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that show. How to Get Away with Murder, ER, Eli Stone. And recently, she's been known for being on Transparent. Now, those of you that don't stream Amazon may have only heard of it and not seen it, but let me tell you that that show was transformative. One of the things, one of the parts that Alex plays, and I want to speak to you directly when I say this, is you showed in the friendship you had to the Mara character was the kind of thing that we are building as community here when we share together and we help one another. The sisters and brothers that have put their arms around and led people forward. This is what you were portraying, and this is what happens in this community. And it's very important for people to see that kind of humanity. You have blessed us greatly in those portrayals. But not only that, she speaks out. She speaks out on behalf of being an AIDS activist, an LGBTQ activist, and she's been around for a while. You're young, but you've been around for a while. She in particular, and I can remember watching this on YouTube. I've been watching her on YouTube for years and seeing things that delight me. As a matter of fact, I was just telling her earlier today that the very first thing I saw, she does a Katharine Hepburn imitation that is absolutely the most hysterical thing you have ever seen. And she was doing this, and I think I was in bed, and Natalie was listening to me, and she said, "What are you watching?" Because I was literally snorting. I was laughing so hard. I was snorting. And this was my introduction to her. So we actually have had a cyber friendship for about 7, 8, 9 years. I'm not sure exactly how long, but Anne Murdoch actually made it possible for us to go up and see her on Broadway. She got to be in a Broadway play, a star in a Broadway play this past season called The Nap. And it was hilarious, and she was hilarious. She was a gangster, and she was really gangstery, really. And what we've been able to see through her is this light of expression that has inspired us. Emma, when she preaches, and even when she helps lead Second Fridays, often will quote Alex as an inspirational thought to begin our meetings. And that's because you inspire us. So what we're going to be giving her tonight is the Lauren Tennant Award. And let me just briefly tell you about Lauren Tennant. Lauren, this is her picture, was the president of TGEA when it was folding. It was falling apart because social media and meetup groups had taken what was once a social group and basically dispersed it out into the world. And we didn't really have much left. But we had a 501c3 designation, and we had a mission in the name that we had been doing as a part, which was education. So we've been carrying through on education. And with Alex, actually as a professor at the university, a teacher at the university, that's one reason that we wanted to give this to you. But Lauren was the one who had the vision to keep this all going. And the things that we've been able to do in the past few years has been amazing. The reason she's not here tonight is she died of cancer. And it was really her dying wish that we carry on this ministry to others. And that's really why we're here today. So we are very pleased, extremely, my heart is full, to be able to present the 2018 Lauren Tennant Award for Excellence in Advocacy, Education, and Inspiration to Alex Billings. Now you can have the mic.
Okay. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Don't say as long as you
Well,
want.
28 minutes.
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk. We don't want to hear her for 28 minutes, do we?
Who made the chicken? It's delicious. Really, I'm not kidding, that's not a joke. Who made it? Raise your hand. Who made that fried chicken? Oh my, is it Kentucky Fried Chicken? Yeah, you can take the girl out of the streets. Listen, this is so great. I'm always so excited to be in a room with young people. I'm 56 years old. I began my transition in 1980 when it was still illegal, when we were sort of getting arrested, we were getting arrested on the streets. And so when I'm in a room full of people, and you're a young person, when I'm in a room full of people like this, who stand up here, in back of a podium and talk about their trans children, I'm just, my heart is as large as the universe. It just opens up to a place that is just foreign to me. And I have these really mixed feelings of like, oh my God, this is amazing. And well, shit. You're like, there's part of me that's like, well, poo. And I remember that feeling. It's important for me to hold on to that stuff. The reason it's important for me is because it keeps my anger going, it keeps my rage going, so that when there are people on the planet that want to stop me from living my life, or stop me from marrying the person that I love, or stop me from teaching, or stop me from getting houses, or homes, or apartments, or getting jobs, when there are people like that try to do that, then I can stand up to them. Because I'm still pissed off. So I'm able to stand up to them, and also I'm able to stand up in a way that's about education. Here's the thing. We can talk and talk and talk until we're blue in the face about how we need to come together. And that, I think, is important. I think that's the foundation from which we stand. What's going to get us out into the universe and heard is to make sure that we get them to come together. We've got to go out and get them into this room. It's super easy for us to talk to each other. It's super easy because we all believe the same thing. There's nobody in this room that's going, well, she's full of crap. That's not. Nobody's doing that. Everyone in this room is in agreement. And that's great. And it solves a little. What we have to do is we have to find the people, not wait for them. We have to find the people, not stand still while they come towards us. We have to go towards them and find the people that disagree with us so that we can hold out our hand with grace, compassion, and empathy and help educate them. And there's a difference, humans, between education and judgment. Yes? Because it's super easy for us to go, you know what, you're wrong and stupid. I gotta go. That does nothing. That does nothing. If we're going to tell them that they're wrong, we have to tell them why they're wrong. If we're going to tell them that they're stupid, we've got to stand in front of our own reflection and find out why that word is important to us. If we're going to call them names, we've got to be able to self-reflect. Yes?
Yes.
Because there's no word in the English language we do not internalize. Here's what I mean. Anything you've ever heard in your entire life has been recorded. Every single word, every sound has been recorded. And you have internalized. Most of it you believe to be true. That's the sad part. Because what we hear is, you can't. Stop. Don't do that. There's no way. That's what we hear. And so what happens to us, because we're human beings, is we go out in the world, and then the people that try to stop us, we take all of those words and we throw it at them. And it's like spaghetti against a wall. We just throw stuff and hope it sticks. That's not change. That's argument. And I can tell you, just from being another person on the planet, that when somebody comes up to me and all they want to do is argue, I just want to go. I just want to leave. I don't want any part of your conversation. I just want to go if you're going to come at me and argue. I hear so much time and time again about these people who have voted for this human who's pretending to be president. Like all of these, bless his heart, all of these, and he's doing the best he can with what he knows. All of these, is he here? He could be sitting right next to you in a house dress and a crown. Is he here? All of these people, God bless you for laughing at that joke, that voted for this human, all I hear is that they're uneducated and they're wrong and they're mean but that's all I hear. What I never hear is, hey, all of these people voted for this man. Why?
Yeah.
What did we do to not help them understand that we're here on the planet? Because they don't understand it. Had they known that, they wouldn't have voted for him. They don't know we're here. So, humans, we can sit in this room and be cozy and comfy and talk to each other and praise each other, and I think that's important. That is the foundation from which we stand. And we can give each other these beautiful awards, these talismans that reverberate with history. Listen, I was diagnosed with AIDS over 20 years ago at a time when my doctor said, well, really, I think what you should do is max out your credit cards. Because you're not going to be around to pay the bill. Which at that time was true, because everyone was dying. Now, when I bring this up in my classes, I talk about it a lot. I talk about being trans, I talk about being mixed race, I talk about being married to a cisgender female, I talk about having AIDS, I talk about everything in my classes. And when I talk about this, one of the kids said to me, this was only a couple of years ago, they said, you know, I've been living with AIDS for over 2 decades, and one of the kids said, oh my God, that 80s disease? Thank God that's true. Thank God that's a miracle that that's true. Because I remember when you couldn't even say that word. Now I sit in a place where a parent is receiving an award because their child is able to move into a safe space that is about gender inclusivity. That is a miracle, and it's a miracle because of the human experience, because we have created space in a common way. And that's the foundation from which we stand. Now we got to do something else. Now we got to do something else. Now you have to take all of this beauty and all of this grace and all of this kindness, all of this compassion, all of this information, all of this sense of family, and get out. Because that's where they need your help. That's who's calling. That's who needs to be led, guided, taught, and quite frankly, in my opinion, befriended. I had this boy, this is the last story I'll tell you and then I'll go. I had this boy when I was in 7th grade who came up to me during lunch and he said, "I'm gonna beat you senseless after school." And I went, okay. Didn't know why, no reason. And after school, he did. He beat me bloody. It was the only fight I was ever in. I never knew how to throw a punch. I never knew what a punch was. Except for maybe, watching occasionally, Joan Crawford. That was the only... And stage slaps don't work. Don't try them because they don't work. Oh, that didn't work at all, did it? So I laid on the ground for a long time and bled for a long time. And throughout middle school, he beat me constantly, tripped me downstairs. He organized once a troop of humans to dump a bucket of dead fish on me in the middle of the hallway. I still remember that and I can still smell it. About 10 years ago, I'm on the Facebook and I get this message from him that says, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me, my name is Paul. And we met in junior high. And I want to tell you how deeply, truly sorry I am. I don't know why I behaved that way. And I hope you can accept my apology. What can I do? What can I do?" And that viscerally changed and shifted the inner space of me. Because I finally understood what forgiveness meant. And not just me forgiving him forgiving him. There are so many people out there, humans, that cannot find the space for self-forgiveness. They don't understand it because they've never been taught it. It doesn't make any sense to them. But you see, as LGBTQI folks, that's how we navigate the planet. With the help of the allies, our Glindas. Yes?
Yes.
We live in a magical, spinning, blue rock made of dust and molecular particles. There is no reason in the world that it should be buoyant. There's nothing holding it up. You stand in the center of nothing that was birthed from the loudest, most joyful, divine sound in infinity. You stand. That's a responsibility. It's not only a gift, it's a responsibility. Take it seriously, angels. It only happens once. Thank you very much for this award. And I want to say, just lastly, that in 1976, I met this human who sat across from me in my drama club meeting. And when I stood up, I saw these green, blue, hazel eyes staring at me. And I knew I had found my home. And 22 years ago, I asked her to be my wife, and she said yes. Together for almost a half a century, I have been protected and held by this human being. When it was illegal, when people told us that we needed to stop loving each other or they would throw us in jail. When we got married, people came to our wedding and thought it was a play. And I am here to tell you, just like Roxanne believes, it is not me. I married way up. My wife, Chrisanne, is part of my breath. I love you, honey. Thank you very much. Thank you.